Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to toss it. They haven't got it. He's on the outside line, though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now, though, for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Welcome to La Pista Magica, the Temple of Speed, as the Autodromo Nazionale Monza hosts the fifth round actually, of the Virtual World Sports Car Championship, historic from 1985. And welcome along for the 250 kilometres of Monza. You join myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Ed Hunter in the booth tonight, as our broadcast director will be Mr. Paul Glover. We have Ross Smith, one of the people behind Champion Sim Racing. So we welcome everybody watching on the Champion Sim Racing YouTube channel and also on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel for what is going to be a full throttle adventure over the next couple of hours. We just had time qualifying completed, but let's run you through a few bits of housekeeping. First of all, the calendar. We are currently at the Temple of Speed. We head to the home of British Motorsport. Sound, I think, from the mics. But the target, 2.9 litres per lap, 1 minute 38 to maybe 1 minute 40 will get you around the circuit for a lap of fuel. And then 44 laps is the total amount that will equal just over 250 kilometres an hour. And there it says slipstream where possible. Lift and coast sector 2 very, very heavily. And that is going to be crucial for these cars. Then we've got the standings at the moment. For C1 Pro, it's Eduardo Beninca that leads on 43 points ahead of Daniel Hurlock and Scar Pope running at the top three. Elko Bussink, Robin Merling, JT Tammy, Becky Ely Clark, Tom Lane, Mike Bell and Oliver Day round out the top 10 in the standings. In terms of the teams, it's Smile Power Racing with the Jaguar XJR6 on 64 points. Retro Monsters Porsche 956 on 60 points. Drongo Thrashers, EMKA, C84 Aston Martin on 58. That's the pairing of Scar Pope and JT Tammy. Beninka and Oliver Day round out the top 4 with the Wiggy Design Lancia LC2. Ricky Lobster's March 84G. That's Woodard Bruyne and Becky Ely Clark are 5th, ahead of the Emmy Racing Jaguar XJR6 crew with Tuvik, Doglin and Schultz. Next up, we go to the C1 Pro Am. Funnily enough, well, we might as well have a little chat with him in a moment. The current championship leader, Ross Smith, in the Cookie Monsters March 84G Porsche. Tony McCoffin and Antonis Paparinopoulos round out the top 3. Troy Uyen and John Uyen round out the top 5 ahead of Mika Dawn. Adrian Rice, Luca Tavanari, Daniel Scott, Oliver Newman and Yuki Takanashi. Cookie Monsters lead the way on 67 points in the team side of things, with CMS Pro on 52 and Mike Bell Motorsports on 16. Then we've got, last but by certainly no means least, the C1 AM standings. It's Peter Mayer on 35 points. He's ahead of Jerry Chan by 5, with Vinicius Goncalves, George Angelidis, Jill Lalonde, Carl Strahal, Wayne Hutchinson, Stephen Miller, Adam Gray and Stacey Scott rounding out the 10 in the standings. And with that in mind, let's go back trackside. Firstly, let's introduce Mr. Ed Hunter. Ed, good evening. How are you, sir? It should be a cracking one here at Monza.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel sorry for all the people who didn't get to hear your very start of your introduction, where you really picked up the history of Monza and you got all your stats out of the way. So it's a shame that I was the only one who got to hear that. Well, me and Paul, of course. No, it's all good.
Well, it might have been heard on the JP Broadcasting Network, but on Champion Sim Racing, don't worry. It was said it is the 3rd oldest purpose-built circuit globally.
Let the record state, yes.
And as the records truly state, I'm actually visiting the circuit for Porsche Schwarzkopf Suisse in 2 weeks' time. That's a little something I've let out of the bag early, but no, I always tend to do that on race week. But as we were at Monza, yeah, I mean, the good thing is we go back into the heyday of the sports, the WSC back in the 1980s, and at a fantastic track, which is really going to test everybody tonight.
Yeah, I seem to have jumped on for all the Italian rounds because I was at Mugello early in the season as well, which was another race. Fun enough, we mentioned there's the threat of rain at the moment, none on the horizon, but it did sort of materialize out of nowhere in the last 20 minutes, I think, of the race at Mugello, and completely flipped things on its head. Definitely completely changed the outcome of that one. So we'll have to see how this one goes, whether it's going to be your Marches, your Porsches, your Lancias, or your do we still have any Jaguars in there? I know we've got a couple of Aston Martins, JT Tammy and Scar Pope in them, but yeah, we do have a couple of XJs, don't we, in the field in some of the lower categories. So yeah, could be really interesting to see, because obviously they've got that kind of balance, not quite balance of performance, but sort of because this is a championship that tries to emulate the real life elements of how these cars performed in 1985, or roughly circa 1985, that there are all these sorts of specific performance limitations. Some tracks are going to suit certain cars, and some that are going to suit others a lot better. So if you've got a car that's pretty good at acceleration and pretty quick at top speed in a straight line, it's going to excel here at Monza, and certainly we are going to see our fair share of slipstreaming as well.
Indeed. With that in mind, a very warm welcome back into the broadcast booth. I normally deal with, have a lot of chats with this man, Ross Smith from C1 Pro Am in the March 84G00 Porsche. Ross, it's been a while, buddy. Missed you in the NARS VW Virtual Modern Sports Car Championship in the previous round, but good to have you back. Looking pretty rapid in that Porsche, aren't you?
Yeah, thanks for having me back. And yeah, I did miss that race. Was traveling around for some family stuff, but yeah, the March is feeling better than it did on Tuesday night for the MNRL race. But it's stiff competition here, and we're fast in qualifying as usual, but for the race it's going to be a whole another story. We've got quite a bit of a fuel disadvantage that we have to overcome, so making sure a lot of lift and coast. A lot of other drivers may not be aware of our braking zones, so watch out for that in the opening segments as they begin to figure them out. But other than that, yeah, we're hoping to kind of stay out in front and avoid some, you know, any unnecessary collaborations with fenders, I guess you could say.
Especially when it comes to the braking zones, because you're on full throttle for at least 75% of the lap in these beauties from the 1980s. But of course, a car does not, needs to have that great balance between good, consistent top speed here at Monza, but also when you put your foot on the brake pedal, you've got to have that confidence that the car's going to stop in time so you can rotate it around the corners.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. And I think that one of the things that is going to be a real fun time for everyone here is as the tires wear, drivers are going to be more and more aware that the cars are a little bit more limited. But we're about to go to grid. I do want to say I have a different livery this week. Our dog Goomba passed, so giving him a little bit of a tribute livery for this one. So hopefully he does well for the team.
Good luck, Ross, and get yourself grid side and have a blast here at Monza. So the scene is set here in the National Park of Monza, third oldest recorded modern day motorsport venue. And here is your starting order. It is going to be Becky Ely-Clark that puts the number 72 March Porsche on pole position ahead of championship leader overall Eduardo Beninca in the Lancia LC2. Ben Borman and Ross Smith round out row 2. Woods de Bruyne, Simon Subic on row 3. Magnus Dahlgren and Oliver Day round out row 4. Then we get to the end of the top 10. It's Tony McCoffin in the Porsche 956 with Maximilian Putravki in the Team Autohaus Kurbelwelle Porsche. JT Tammy and Scar Pope round out row 6. Jerry Chen and Gilles Lalonde will be on row number 7. George Angelidis and Peter Meyer will round out the 8th row of the grid. Then Troy Uyen and Declan Grady in the XJR6 and the Aston Martin. Vasilis Katarinakis and the Lancia LC12 will start 19th in the number 29 and will be joined by Brian Hall in the 43 Jaguar. Paranopoulos will be joined by John Uyen on row 11 with Goncalves and Parinopoulos, I've just been informed, to Paul Glover, who'll be whispering sweet nothing into our ears all evening long up here in the commentary position. We've got Goncalves, Carty and Kruger rounding out the grid. So Paparinopoulos is going to be at a slight disadvantage here. It's going to be 44 laps, including the pace lap here, and our sincerest condolences to Ross and the family, as there is Goomba. That's a great tribute there, wouldn't you agree, Ed? Goomba on the front and the sides of Ross's March 84G Porsche.
Yeah, it's a nice little touching thing for a lost family over there. We get another look at it now through the Lesmos. Of course, much higher speed in this I say oldest 1985 configuration there, but yeah, you can see the Porsche number 0 with delivery of the dearly departed Goomba. But yeah, we'll have to see if Ross, it's going to power Ross to victory, and he can maybe have at least a very, very strong race and in tribute to his beloved dog, I guess. But anyway, everyone else will be they won't be rolling over for him, that's for sure. They will try and make it a very, very fair fight, as you would expect. And Ross, of course, being so high up in the Pro-Am field, he might risk it for an overall podium, but realistically, he just has to beat Makofov and the two Ewins as well, Troy and John, with Paparinopoulos starting from the pit lane. But of course, 44 laps, a lot could happen here very, very quickly at Monza if something goes wrong, especially.
Yes, it is going to be a standing start. The orange zone turns will be from the start to turn 9. That is the second of the two Lesmos. What they have been told is that passing is permitted, but note that incidents in the orange zone are subject to heavier penalties than the rest of the race. Track limits are self-policed, and it's a driver decision on whether you pit for fuel or tyres. There's no obligatory pits, but this is where things will be. So Paparinopoulos is out of the pits, but they are coming through Parabolica, so Paparinopoulos will be a lap down. They will line up into formation here at the Temple of Speed. You see the old Pirelli signs along there as well. So it's going to be, including this lap, 44 laps of the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, which equals around about 254 kilometers approximately. But it will be down to the drivers as we will go green here at Monza for round 5.
Okay.
So it was, so I saw standing start in the start type. Well, obviously, sports car racing, it is going to be flat out and pedal to the metal. As Beninca has got past Becky Ely-Clark early doors as they go through the double chicane here at the Variante del Rettifiglio into Cova Grande at turn 5. And the Lancia has already got the legs on the March 84G Porsche of Becky Ely-Clark. Ben Borman, Ross Smith and Walter de Bruyne round out the top 5. Beninca leads in Pro-Am led by Smith. And then it's going to be Kutrafki in the Porsche 956 number 59 that is currently rounding out the top 12 that leads in the AM classification. What a wonderful sight this is to see these cars making their way around the circuit through the second of the 2 Lesmos at turn 9 into Cova Saraglio before the rundown. But, well, now, has Beninca had a bit of a moment? I'm not 100% sure. No. No, Beninca is running away with it at the moment, so he is 3.8 seconds up the road from Becky Ely-Clark. So the Lancia on home. Smith has a big moment coming out of turn 13 at Ascari as they go down the Rettifiglio Centro, which is the back straight down into the Parabolica. Behind Ross Smith, Walter de Bruyne being pressured by the 956 Porsche of Timon Suvic, and that is the battle for P5 overall here, Ed. But early doors, it's a pretty clean opening lap.
Yeah, for the most part, and you can see De Bruyne and Suvic just sort of in the middle sector, especially at the 2 Lesmos, just drifting all over the place. So yeah, the Porsche March 84G and then the 956 both not quite handling as well in the dirty air of Ross Smith, but you can see as well Ben Borman has passed Becky Ely-Clark into that first chicane there and gotten up to P2, so the pole sitter has lost another position early doors here, and Becky Ely-Clark needs to keep Borman in sight because Beninca is treating this more like a sprint at the moment. He's 6 seconds ahead of both of them. You can see Ben Borman with those very angry looking eyes on the front of that Porsche number 46 with a lot of intent there, and this could well turn into Borman versus Beninca if Becky can't do anything about this.
Well, she has a bit of a wiggle on the back end coming out of turn 8 of the first of the Lesmos as Ross Smith being handed by Timon Suvic, who's powering to the outside into Saraglio. He's going to get the move done by Ascari as they go down underneath the bridge in towards Ascari. Will Suvic throw it around the outside? Yes, he does. And Smith doesn't really fight it, but Magnus Dahlgren nearly went into the back rear wing of Ross Smith at that point. Scar Pope is there, Oliver Day is there, JT Tammy not too far adrift as someone has gone off big time at the back end of the top 12, top 13, heading out to Ascari. That might have been for Trafke, and he has lost the lead.
Yeah, Jill Malone just got by him before that, and Angelidis is through as well.
So so Gilles and Georges have double teamed Maximilian Kutrafki as Oliver Day, Lancia on home soil, showing a clean pair of heels. And after lap 4, including the formation lap, Beninca is away and clear by 8.4 seconds, give or take. And now you see them come through the first of these chicanes. So this is going to be a replay we're going to have with Declan Brady. Oh, and I think he got a hit from behind, and that has meant that the Virgin livery number 42 car has picked up damage on the right front. So, and the wonderful amounts of different liveries that we have. So I would imagine that Declan Grady, if he loses too much speed, we could see speeds in excess of 330 kilometers an hour. That's the best part of 205 miles per hour here. That, I think, what was it? Eduardo Beninca in qualifying in a top speed of 337 kph, which works out to about 208 miles an hour. So Ross Smith at the moment is hemorrhaging places. Oh dear, Oliver Day, that is through Gary. He got tagged.
Was it McCofferman who tapped him at the background?
Might have done, yeah, because McCoffin is now going to be with Ross Smith very shortly. Careful. It seems like things are going awry through Ascari again. But Ross Smith has got between himself and Tony McCoffin, who is about 2.7 seconds back. So Becky Edie-Clark is in the pit lane. That is quite an interesting development. Who put it on pole position for this race. Of course, the Lancia has the legs on everything else. If you are at the front of the field. And hello to Kim D. Hello to Mr. Reese. Welcome along in the chat. So we're going to have a look at this is what's going to have happened to Maximilian Petravki. Now, he's lost the back end. It snapped on him. He's gone onto the gravel, and then straight away, Gilles Lalonde, George Angelidis did not need a second invitation, and then they were nearly. And Ross Smith has ended up off the track. It's not helping him at the moment.
I think he cut the chicane because.
Dear, got a yellow out in sector number 1 as well. Dimon Suvic has just DNF'd as it's side by side.
He was 5th as well.
Dahlgren and De Bruyne. Dahlgren and De Bruyne from P3. Dahlgren's through. De Bruyne's on his rear wing as they head into Ascari. They're trying to catch Ben Foreman in the number 46 March Porsche 84G up ahead, but there's a big gap between Foreman and Dahlgren. That's about 3 seconds there, but we've had a few dramas here as George Angelidis gets a little bit of a waggle on the tail on the dog of that car. The Lancia LC2 manages to keep it going as Petravki in the Porsche 956 behind him. The Liqui Moly livery is closing in, trying to take back that 10th spot.
So Becky Clark's just come out the pits now, but she's now a lap down. So whatever her issue was, it did look like she was just being absolutely left behind by the Benica and Borman in a straight line, effectively. So maybe there was some damage we didn't see, or maybe she set it up for qualifying, as we see a move going on right in front of us. That looks like Angelidis being overwhelmed by Maximilian Petravki, who flies over the curb at the first chicane and gets past that Martini Racing livery Lancia. So yeah, Petravki on his fight back now. He's only about a second behind Gilles Lalonde in the fight for the AM class victory. Ross Smith, by the way, has got Tony McCofferman only 2 seconds behind him. So now Smith has let a lot of the pro field through. The real threat comes from McCofferman directly behind him. We are seeing the classes reassert themselves downwards.
We are indeed, Ed. Wondering what has happened with regards to Timon Subic. I think it was a case of did he do it on his own, or it sounds like he was more than likely pushed. It is quite close in proximity when you're on the tarmac in these 1980s prototype cars. We've got a yellow out in sector 1.
JT Tammy got up to 5th past De Bruyne there, so De Bruyne in trouble, I think.
JT Tammy also doing a stellar job at the moment. John Uyen in the Castrol livery. So we're going to have a look, and it's going to be another spin here for Oliver Day. The back just went on its own. So
Tony would know where to go there.
Yeah, so he would have gone left rather than going right, because then that would just probably throw Oliver Day into the barriers in the Lancia LC2 006. Scarpo being chased down by the EMKA C84 Aston Martin. So 2 cars battling over 4th and 5th respectively. Duckham's tricky livery there. So Wouter De Bruyne has got Ross Smith closing in. Big moment there! That's Tony McCoffin. That was a tank slapper and a half. And a code brown and a clean up on aisle 3 at all the same time for the number 339. But he held onto it. So, oh my goodness. And I'm wondering now, the thing is, there is some speculation coming in about Subic. Now, I'm wondering if our broadcast director, Mr. Paul Glover, has been able to do some investigative digging. But that is not how you take the chicane, number 52.
John taking flying lessons there.
Yes, this is Jaguar. X-ray Juliet
Brian Hall. We lost another Jaguar. Brian Hall's out.
Oh no. Right, so another Champion Motorsports replay as we are quickly getting through these laps here at Monza. And all the... right, okay.
So this is De Bruyne, Pope, and I think Tammy.
Oh,
Whoa!
no! That was that Subic? Was that the one that out Subic? It was, yeah, Subic's running in the Roth colours. So now, just watch carefully. He goes to the right-hand side and bang. Oh, that is a hair-raising accident for him. Wouter De Bruyne is in the pits.
So lucky that happened right next to him and he didn't get involved himself.
Boorman and Dahlgren now are battling away. It's the March 84 G Porsche versus the 956. Dahlgren has been closing in on the number 46 in front of him. But Beninka in the Lancia LC2 is well up the road.
Dahlgren, the fastest man on track at the moment. Yeah, 1:39.0 that last lap. So he's a whole second quicker than Boorman and about 8/10 quicker than Beninka. So if he can clear Boorman quickly here, we might see Beninka start to sweat a little.
Okay, let's have a look on the onboard with Timon Subic. So that is the number 339. So that would have been Tony McCoffin, and it's an Aston Martin that's hit him. I think, now was that possibly, Scar Pope. Tried to thread the eye of the needle, did Scar. That was the 21 Aston, EMKA Aston Martin. So, crikey, I cannot believe this. We're not even 10 laps in, and Beninka has put in the fastest lap of the race so far, 1:37.566. Boorman's doing 40.4, so is Dahlgren. They're matching each other on pace. Scar Pope 39.5 last time around, 39.7 for Tammy, for Smith at 39.6, Tony McCoffin 40.2. So this is going to be, I think, rather interesting how Dahlgren, now look at the run that Dahlgren's got coming out of Curva Grande and then going into De La Roggia. Dahlgren to the inside. Boorman cuts his nose. Oh, that was so close. And I think Dahlgren got a little bit of a wake-up call there because he backed out of it straight away. And right on his rear wing is Scar Pope. And there is also the number 66 Duckham style livery. Scar Pope off the circuit after the opening Lesmo manages to gather the Aston Martin back up. But JT Tammy in the Duckham's tribute livery. That's what it looks like to me, that Aston Martin. If anyone might remember, it's either the Duckham's livery or the Napa Racing livery from the British Touring Car Championship. That's what it kind of reminds me of.
It's more the Ukrainian flag to me. But,
yeah, Ukrainian flag as well. Well said there, Mr. Hunter. But we're going to see a replay here. So this is Wouter De Bruyne, and this is why he ended up in pit lane, going through Parabolica. Oh, he's lost the back end, and it's gone straight in, right-hand side, big damage to the right-hand side of the number 39, and that is why he's down in 21st position. We do have two DNFs at the moment, Peter Meyer and Timon Subic. Well, I've never seen an accident like that at Monza, especially with the way that, unfortunately, Timon Subic got flattened into by Scar Pope, who was trying to make room in the middle. It was kind of a cold trickle manoeuvre.
Oh, and Scar having another moment at the exit of the first couple of chicanes there, and this is going to allow Tammy to go around the outside at Curva Grande. This should be fairly straightforward there for the other Aston Martin then in the yellow and blue, and JT Tammy up to 4th position there. So Scar Pope, who is already maybe in trouble with the stewards and has cut this second chicane at De La Roggia a couple of times, as Tammy, just about keeping it on track there as he pushes to nail that exit there. That's the other thing about these old school Group C sort of prototypes, that they're always trying to go as wide as they can, often a little bit beyond the track limits, kicking up dust, kicking up the rear end, and it is spectacular to watch sometimes. Yeah, JT Tammy, brilliant car control. Now, as Dahlgren's being held up by Boorman, Beninka is checking out here, 21 seconds to the good. Dahlgren's not able to get through, so that pace he showed earlier, not able to utilise it. Now maybe JT Tammy can join the battle and become a factor and make it a three-way fight for second as we look at Angelidis, who's holding off at the Lalonde.
So, yeah, you've got Lalonde, Troy Uyen, Jerry Chen. Always loves a Porsche, just Jerry, in the number 66. This four-way scrap over 8th position. George Angelidis now leading the C1 AM classification. At the moment, currently in the Martini Racing Lancia LC2. Lovely to see. Well, everyone loves a Martini livery on a car. We have one in the Porsche Sportscar Suisse. Shout out to my good friend Ron Christie. 991.2 GT3R, which has the Martini stripes on it, but not the name. Probably trademark infringement, but never mind. However, this is going to be a great battle because we've not only got Angelidis, Lalonde, Uyen, Chen, but the recovering Declan Grady is not too far behind either. Grady currently P4 in C1 AM and is closing in on Jerry Chen. It's about 1.8 seconds behind, but Beninka has cantered away into the distance. We are at 1/4 race distance at lap 11 out of 44 here at Monza, and Angelidis doing a sterling job in the C1 AM classification. It's a second ahead of Gilles Lalonde, so it's a Lancia 1-2 in the class. Jerry Chen and Declan Grady bringing up some of the other manufacturers into play, as in Porsche and the EMK8 Aston Martin. At the moment in Pro Am, Ross Smith leads the way by 3.5 seconds ahead of Tony McCoffin. Troy Uyen rounding up the top three. Here's a replay coming up. So this is going to be a code round for Jerry Chen. Oh, big old wobble through the first chicane of the Retrovillo, and manages to get it through the kissy litter. No harm, no foul there for Jerry.
Yeah, he did very well not to Mick Hakkinen that one. But here comes Dahlgren. He's picking his moment to try and go up the inside then of Borman, who tucks in those eyes, looking menacingly, trying to get that Porsche number 46 back ahead, but not quite able to do so. Dahlgren timed that brilliantly, and now JT Tarry is starting to look very, very enviously at the back of Borman here, as Dahlgren is already escaping up the road, and here comes Tarry immediately as Borman gets a horrible exit once more from the chicane, and he loses 2 positions in quick succession.
So JT Tammy now rounds out the top 3. Scar Pope is next to have Ben Borman in the crosshairs, as we have a yellow ounce in sector number 1. Little wiggle again from JT Tammy. But more to the point, it is going to be the case that if he keeps on doing that, coming out of Della Roggia, there is going to be one moment when JT Tammy pulls that throttle. And oh, Borman's off the circuit. Well, no, that's Dahlgren off. Borman's coming back at JT Tammy, so don't count out the number 46 in the March 84 G Porsche yet. They go into Ascari at turns 11 to 13. Borman is now, like literally, you could fit the front cockpit of that car underneath the back end of JT Tammy. Aston Martin, they've got to be very, very careful of the curves here. So here is another replay. So Declan Grady, oh, this is through, gets caught on the outside. Well, the curves are quite high back then. You know, you can see the angle, and he just gets caught on it and it gets kiboshed by somebody else.
Look how low the suspension runs to the ground, so he literally, the wheel got stuck in the mud there. As now we see JT Tammy immediately all over the back of Magnus Dahlgren. You saw Dahlgren, I think, was pushing the limits because he had that 22-second gap to overcome to Beninka. He was pushing like crazy, immediately made a mistake into Lesmo 2, and now that's allowed Tammy to start challenging the back of him. But they are starting to drop Borman here. I wonder if maybe Ben Borman starting to run out of tyres at this point, as Dahlgren just about breaks late enough to keep Tammy trapped around the outside. And you see that West End Aston Martin Scar Pope has already had its fair share of incidents today, starting to make those angry eyes on the front of Borman's car. They might look a bit scared and nervous now with Scar Pope coasting up to the back of him. Of course, we are back in Italy, so the Pope often a reverent figure, but not the case for Scar Pope. Unfortunately, here he's doesn't seem like his presence is welcome.
I like the terminology there, Ed. Well played on the pun there, good sir. But JT Tammy's nemesis at the moment seems to be the Lesmos. Comes out of turn 8, and then instantly has a wobble. Della Roger is also another one where JT Tammy seems to struggle a little bit, because now, well, Eduardo Beninca has lapped all the way up to Darrell Kruger in the number 96 Porsche. More to the point, Antonis Paparinopoulos in the Jaguar XJR6 number 61, who started, let's not forget, from pit lane, is
like
now
half a lap
up
down.
to 17th. He's about a lap down now as we see the battles continue onwards here at this fantastic circuit. And with Period Motorsports as well, again, Magneti Marelli, Ferodo. If anyone doesn't know what Ferodo is, it's a brake manufacturer, a direct competitor to Brembo. They both come from
Sorry, Paul just made a terrible joke there.
I know, he just made a Lord of the Rings mention and he's talking about Frodo Baggins, unfortunately, but there we go.
Paparinopoulos through, up to 16th. So yeah, that is the bad. Those to him and Ducati are the last two that haven't been lapped. 83 seconds off Beninca in the lead there. And so yeah, Paparinopoulos is doing a great recovery job, and he's not too far behind John Oyen, isn't he? Oyen, because he's less than 30 seconds behind him, considering he started more than 30 seconds behind. That is quite a credible effort to pick off some of the AM runners there. But of course, Ross Smith still leading Pro-Am from McCoffin by just under 3 seconds. So McCoffin has started to get things together. He's been a tenth faster here and there. But you do sense that Ross Smith's starting to get very, very comfortable now, running in 6th overall. He did mention fuel saving before the start as well.
He did.
Right in front of that.
We did say that that was part of on the strategy card, that through sector 2 you've got to be doing a little bit more fuel saving, so you get a lift and coast and then go onto the brakes, as there is Petravki trying to close in on Gilles Lalonde a little bit. Well, he's got Troy Huyen actually in front of him, and this could be the opportunity that if Petravki gets through, and he does, on the number 61 of Jaguar of Troy Huyen. I love that livery on that car. God, take me back to the 1980s. All I need is Doc Brown, Marty McFly and the DeLorean all of a sudden. But yeah, you get these wonderful liveries here. And it's the old Castrol livery, the white, green and red from back in the day. So this is where things are going to get a little bit hairy. Drivers having to deal with back marker traffic. We're not at half distance yet here, as you can see the sparks fly from Petravki's car. Here's another Champions Motorsport replay coming up. This is going to be into Ascari. This is going to be Ross Smith with Goomba on the front of the car.
Too deep.
Oh, yeah, too much speed. That's gaining an advantage, Mr. Ross Smith. So Tammy, so JT Tammy has got through on Magnus Dahlgren. So our broadcast director, Mr. Paul Glover, is hunting down a replay, and this is going to be it. It's coming out of the Rettifilios into Curva Grande. That car has got a lot of straight line speed, that Aston Martin, and it's going to be coming
did you see in the background Pope making a mistake because he just got past Borman, and there we go, that's the move around the outside by JT Tammy there.
Yeah, we've had fast forward, rewind. It's like putting the Betamax or the VHS in the player again. Plumber, stop it. Right, round the outside into turn 11 at Ascari, and he got the job done basically by slipstream and then side drop on that one. But they are still battling away.
That didn't show up on the screen, that expletive. But anyway.
Well, what people can't hear doesn't hurt them. So
that's very true.
It is for the best for everybody, but we are on lap 16 out of 44, and Eduardo Beninca on the Lancia LC2 number 60 has the fastest lap of the race. His maximum speed recorded so far 198 miles an hour. Scar Pope has been one of the fastest in terms of straight line speed, 202 miles an hour from the number 21 Aston Martin EMKA C84. And, who have we got going in the... who's gone into the pits?
Becky Clark apparently has.
Oh, again.
But she's 2 laps down now, so if it was a strategic ploy to start with to pit early, it's not working out, that's for sure.
Well, no, it's definitely not. I mean, considering the fact that she was absolutely flying in qualifying earlier on and put it on pole position, which I think might... Oh, and this is going to be...
Worst kind of spin as well, Alex, because, yeah. So too many track cuts is giving him a penalty as well.
Oh, Philippe Ducati's had a rotten evening so far. Oh, how straight
much of the brakes there.
Chicane. Right. Meantime, JT Tammy, Scott Dahlgren right with him. No,
held up by traffic.
So JT Tammy is bridging a gap between himself and Magnus Dahlgren. Confused him with Robert Dahlgren, a multi-time Swedish Touring Car Championship racer. It's an easy thing to do when you see a surname and you go, oh yeah, Dahlgren, oh yeah, Robert. No, it's Magnus. It's somebody else. Come on. But Beninka at this moment in time, we haven't really seen much of him. Why? Because he's 31 seconds up the road from JT Tammy, who's got a massive mountain to climb. Maximilian Petravki now up into P3 in the Liquid Moly. Team Altos Curvavella Porsche 956 has a little bit of a wiggle through the chicane at Della Roggia. His next target.
Ooh, it's the grass apparently.
Yes, apparently so. But at this moment in time, Petravki is 1.3 seconds behind Gilles Lalonde, and it is a 1-2 for well, okay, right, let's just put this into perspective, folks. We have a Lancia LC2 leading C1 Pro. It's D1 Pro Am. It's a Goldschmidt in the March 84G Porsche. And then in C1 Am, it is a Lancia 1-2. Does anyone want to say what I'm thinking? Frickin' Italians on home soil. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. Besides, no!
Speaking of which,
that is a big incident. That involved, I think, Jerry Chen, Troy Uyen, and possibly Petravki. Oh,
it looked
okay.
like a red Aston. Oh, it's Paparinopoulos is down.
Oh no, that was the Jaguar XKR. Okay, that is not what Paparinopoulos.
I do hope that wasn't Scar Pope.
No, that was definitely not Scar Pope, because there is another red vehicle around the circuit. So it's not just Jerry Chen and Scar Pope that have a red livery.
It looked like an Aston. Oh, so Paparinopoulos has had a separate incident we're hearing. So what we just saw there, that was just sort of incidental!
Oh! Ben Foreman, how do you do? My goodness me. That was... Oh, that was tank slapper times 250. He caught that. I don't know how he did, but mamma mia, that was incredibly well held by Ben Foreman. So here is the replay.
Somebody.
It is Scar Pope. It was Scar Pope that was involved. She got caught, Scar got caught up in it. It's the Bud Light number. Yeah, it was, because they had 21 on the front nose cone of it. I was like thinking, how on earth? There is definitely. So, yeah. So there was a Martini car in front. So the Martini car is going to stumble. Look, watch the Martini livery car, and then bang. Now, who is that that's lost their front nose?
I think it might be Goncalves or Lancia.
Goncalves in the no, I think it might have been a Porsche possibly. Daryl Kruger maybe, because he's in the pits. Number 96. It looked more like a Porsche. It's just the dome, Oh dear, that's definitely got, well, it's still got 4 wheels on that wagon, but no front downforce, unfortunately. So
at least now we can see how the Porsche 956 works.
Yeah, get a nice understanding of the front subframe and the suspension. But Guy Stivau, the number 3 Jaguar, has DNF. So started off with 25 cars.
Oh, Pope in the wall. Pope's out.
And 3 wheels on the wagon, and the car is on fire. Well, that's the fire starter. That's for sure. That kind of heavy impact.
I was going to say, now we know how they elect you.
Oh dear, you went there, didn't you? All I can say, I was going to say that Scar Pope is definitely a fire starter now. Words of the prodigy.
That's a song that won't come out until some years after 9/11.
True. Oh, he was involved in the incident actually as well. It was the Bud Light. Yeah. That's
steering
not
was quite
how you-
damaged. Whoa!
Oh, and that was the liquid body number 59 hitting him as well, who went off track. Oh
That's
my
Petravsky.
God. Petravsky. But there was a third car involved in it. There was a third car that also went off. So Pope is out, Papadinopoulos is out, Sever is out, Meyer and Subic. I think out of everybody, Timon Subic has had the biggest accident out of everybody. And then Scar Pope just one-upped him. When hold my limoncello, and then bang, the car goes into play. Well,
there felt like there was a bit of frustration in that crash as well. Another driver that's really lost out is Gilles Lalonde, who's dropped well off the back of Angelidis, and now Jerry Chen is up to second in the AM class with Petravsky. This is
that was a hard hit. It was left-hand side, bang into the barriers, left front wheel off the wagon, and instant spontaneous combustion employed. Well, Ross Smith currently lead. Well, let's take you through a little bit of a rundown of the top 5. So Eduardo Beninca leading overall in C1 Pro. JT Tammy in P2. Magnus Dahlgren P3 with Ben Gorman running at the top 4, comprised of C1 Pros. And then in Pro Am, it is, well, we've got Oliver Day and Scar Pope with Wooten DeCroix, Becky Ely Clark, Brian Hall. Ross Smith leads Tony McCuffin and Troy Uyen in the top 3 in the Pro Am category. John Uyen, and now a retiree is the number 61 Jaguar XJR6 of Papadinopoulos. Then it's George Antonidis, and it's no longer a Lancia 1-2. It's 2 Porsches in the middle, Jerry Chen and Maximilian Petravsky rounding out the top 3. Gilles Lalonde, Declan Brady, Philippe Ducati, Vinicius Goncalves, Daryl Kruger, Vasilis Katrinakis, and Guy Stivau, who is now unfortunately in the number 3 Bud Light Jaguar, retired from the race. Last but by certainly no mean least, it's going to be the C1 AMS that we have got, that Angelidis, Chen, Petravsky leading the way in that one, but Beninca is...
He's just dropped behind several other cars here. He's just hemorrhaging time.
Who's that? Oh, Jerry Chen.
No, Ben Gorman has lost a lot of time.
Oh, right, he is quite a way behind. Where is he now? Ben Gorman, he's all the way down in 7th overall. So what has happened to... Oh, he's lost over 12 seconds in sector 2. That's where you're meant to be saving time. I know we've got a fantastic replay coming up very, very shortly, courtesy of director. We've got a yellow.
I love hearing other people describe things rather than seeing it for myself.
I know. But we are at half distance. Here is the champion Motorsports replay of Ben Gorman. So, oh no! Oh, Ross Smith, you darted to the left at the right time, and Ben Gorman was so lucky he did not hit the barriers. That is definitely an underwear checker after that, I'm sure. And he was getting closer and closer to Magnus Dahlgren, the P3 in the class, so Rookie Lobster's number 46. Well, that definitely shook up the apple cart for him, that was for sure, as the two in front are battling away.
Was careful with the Lancia there, nearly turned in on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Borman has been sort of pushing the exit Lesmo 2 the entire race and flirting with disaster, and I think he flirted just a little bit too close there for his own comfort and everybody else's as well.
He decided to go for the passenger instead of the anti-passenger first. That's probably where he went wrong. However, 23 laps now are done and dusted here at Monza. We've got 19 to go, and well, we've had incidents, we've had accidents.
Making a move.
So yeah, he's through. He's
trying to go around the outside of it.
Parabolica, and he's going to get the run actually coming out of the final corner. This is going to be perfect for Maximilian Petravki in the number 59 car. He's going to get a double toe here down the start finish straight. Can he get through? Jerry Chen on the flashes. The Breaking Bad Racing Porsche 956. And then into the Rettifilio, the first of the two chicanes. They both get through. Hopefully Jerry Chen doesn't get anchored onto one of them. He gets through. Petravki, the back end drifts out to the right-hand side ever so slightly as they head into Curva Grande. So this is going to be the opportunity now for Petravki maybe to make a move. Chen goes aggressive on the defence. Petravki to the outside into Della Roggia. Has to back out of it at the last moment possible, just to make sure he gets through Della Roggia. Then it's the two Lesmos coming up, but it's going to be coming out of turn 9. It's going to be crucial for both Chen and Petravki. So they will have to pedal to the metal to go through turn number 10 at Curva del Seraglio. At that point, Jerry Chen had a lot more momentum going his way. He's left Petravki in his dust ever so slightly, but can Petravki claw it back? Down the start finish straight once again as they go into Scari. You see them all liners there. They've got a couple of drivers that they're closing in on, one of which is George Angelidis, another one up the road from them. Funny enough, there's Angelidis, there is Borman, I believe.
It's Troy Ewan that's in between.
Yes, yeah, Troy Ewan, the 61 Jaguar. Well, the gap between Ross Smith and Tony McCoffin here at the moment, Ed, was at one point 5.4 seconds. It's now 3.7. As here goes Petravki to the outside and through on pure pace alone. Bit of top speed added in there for the good mixture. And into the Rettifilio. Petravki through on Chen for second in C1 AM.
Yeah, Petravki showing the pace that he showed in qualifying, isn't he? And it led the early stages, now has finally fought his way back up to second, and Angelidis may look a bit worried with the group driver, because if Petravki can clear Troy Ewan quickly, then he might have a major fight in his hands to hold on to the lead of the AM class. But yes, as you say, Mukova then slowly but surely starting to catch Ross Smith 10th by 10th. He's actually just got the gap below 3 seconds now. So, as we see Petravki again pushing the limits through Lesmo 1, we've seen him go off and tap another car that had already gone off earlier, didn't we?
Well, at the moment, yeah.
No, it isn't. It's 1 second. It's the gap.
1.2 seconds between Angelidis and Petravki for the C1 AM class lead. Brief yellows showing up in sectors 1 and 3. And so, Ducati again has been having more dramas. So is that is possible? It's not Tony McCoffin. I think it's Ducati who's coming to the pit lane. There is Tony McCoffin in the Porsche 956. The gap between him and Ross Smith now has come down to around 2.5 seconds. So the Porsche has the legs on the March 84G, but at the moment, as he said in the interview before the race, Ross Smith saying that I am going to have to do some lifting and coasting to keep that fuel mileage on point. Of course, with 44 laps, that's about the same. Well, normally a 44 lap Grand Prix would be at the 7.004 kilometre layout of Spa. But again, these cars being at full throttle for over 75% of the race on each lap, there is always going to be that element where you need to, rather than guzzle the fuel, you need to just sip it going through corners, like here at the Lesmos. Rather than braking, use the car to do the deceleration and then power out of the corner. And here is another replay coming up. So this is going to be, Becky Clark. She's not been having a good time. She did really, really well in qualifying, but the race has been a completely different story for the number 72 Porsche.
Yeah, absolutely right, Alex. It's a real shame. Those two pit stops have put her 2 laps down, as you see the 2 Lanciers on different laps, I believe, going side by side, and that should be Angelidis lapping his way through. As you see, Petravsky now will have to do the same and desperately wants to get back on terms with Troy Ewan. Ewan, of course, is on the Pro-Am podium, the bottom step of it, but he's quite a distance, 11 seconds down on the Makofov and Smith battle. So he's got Angelidis and Borman sort of separating him from it then. Just starting to cooperate. You can tell everybody has gotten into their rhythm a little bit now, especially when you were watching Makofov and early coming out of the chicane, the early couple of laps, he was really hanging the rear end out, and now it's all looking a little bit more neat and tidy for most of the field, but there'll always be that temptation, even with your saving fuel, just to get on that power fraction of a second earlier, drift the rear out and see if you can just hang on through the corner, essentially. So it is proper old school, the way that not just old school cars, but old school driving styles as well then, as we see picture in picture of another battle going on a bit further down at that second De La Roggia chicane.
So a nice picturesque view with the Campari signage in the background there. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you want to know about how to get out of jail free,
you went up the inside.
It's Ben Borman. Oh dearie me, that was very, very close. As now Petravsky closing in on Angelidis. This is for the class lead. They've got Oliver Day in the number 6 Lancia with them as well. And, well, Day's got through. Day's got through on Petravsky. And there is Angelidis. They're going through Parabolica right now at turn number 14. Apologies to Hugo, who says that broadcast misfires issues early in the race and exploding onto my car. Well, there was so much going on that opening lap or two, as Angelidis has to let Oliver Day, who's in the Pro class, go by, but that puts him straight into the clutches of Maximilian Petravsky as they're going through into the Rettifilio. Yellow's out to sector number 2, but Petravsky, I think this is now the best opportunity for Petravsky to go toe-to-toe, mano-a-mano with Angelidis for the AM class lead. This is the 9th overall as we're on lap 28 out of 44. And they are going to be heading down into De La Roggia. Petravsky just staying in the wheel tracks of Angelidis in the Lancia at the moment. So great battle here. Let's see, we're actually riding aboard picture in picture with Mr. Petravsky. That's a wonderful sight to see it again. Petravsky just taking too much of the grass coming out of Lesmo 1. Jerry Chen is not too far behind either in the number 66 956 Porsche as they go down in towards Ascari at this particular moment. Well, George Angelidis does have Petravsky's number at the moment, but then Jerry Chen makes it a 3-horse race covered by 1.6 seconds. And very shortly we'll be heading on to nearly 30 laps of the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza here in Italy, just off the fashion capital of Milan. So Petravsky trying to get the slipstream coming out of Parabolica. Wonderful noises from these period Group C sports cars. A lot of work behind the scenes with the likes of Storm Gang Simulation. Big thank you to them for their hard work behind the scenes, as always. Yellow out in sector 3. But oh, look how close Petravsky now is with Angelidis. He was stumbling all over those curbs, left and right was Petravsky to try and close that gap.
Yeah, and he may as well take the risks here because you can see the lead right in front of him. Oliver Day, by the way, doing very well as well. He forces Angelidis to brake very, very late indeed. And maybe Angelidis can be forced into a mistake here. Petravsky can just keep buzzing around in the rearview mirror here. But if he gets stuck behind, then Jerry Chen can become a factor as well. So it is pass or be passed here. And just a word on Oliver Day. Since being spun around at the beginning, he's actually put together a very solid recovery, lapping in the sort of mid-39s. Troy Ewan has had to up his pace to match it, and they're both starting to catch Ben Borman in front of them as well. So a good little battle for fourth in the pro classes. Oh, massive moment for Petravsky. He just holds onto it for Ascari, but that is going to allow Angelidis to stretch his legs all the way down this back straight into Paralolica again. And
he's got Chen right up his rear exhaust pipes as well, going down the Rettifilio Centro into Parabolica, flame spitting from the side exhaust pipes on both cars. This could be an opportunity for Jerry Chen to get past Maximilian Petravsky for second in the C1 AM class, and more importantly, a spot in the overall top 10. But no, at this moment, he needs to be about 3/10 behind as Jerry Chen on Petravsky in order to have the maximum opportunity of a slipstream. Here's another champion motorsport replay. John Ewan now in the number 52, British Racing Green Jaguar. This is not going to go well through the first Lesmo. Oh, that is going to flat spot the tyres big time. Holds on the brakes, gets onto the grass and keeps out of the way.
Just as well he did get out of the way, Alex, because Beninka was in that group there that just got by him.
Yes. Now, hearing that this might not have been the only incident, as he's about to head down to Ascari. So this is not an easy
He's very close to Angelidis as we're watching this, by the way.
Yeah, so let's just see. Coming through Ascari, it's coming out of number 13. Well, there. So it seems like he has had another moment. Angelidis and Petravsky nose to tail, 3/10 of a second apart as they come out of Ascari. They have got Ross Smith, who is no longer leading, and they are going to literally floor past him. I think Ross Smith
made a pit stop.
Ross hasn't had a pit stop according to the light time.
So he's just made a mistake while saving fuel as they both go around the outside. I did. There's so many replays he's got to find. People just messing up.
I know.
Going up track. Seems to happen.
So it's going to be second incident with at the Parabolica. That car's going to go backwards. It bang into the barriers.
How did the rear wing survive that?
Yeah, probably just. In real life, that
takes the class lead.
Yep. So Petravsky back in front, and good work there by Petravsky. He got through on Ross Smith, and now George Angelidis has to get past the dirt for a moment. So we're about to get another replay, I fear. Okay, this is going to be a big one, apparently. So here we go with the Champion Motorsports replay. This is going to be Ross Smith. Oh. Oh.
My goodness.
The words of Limp Bizkit, keep rolling, 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 rolling. You know, that's all I'm saying on that one. That car at least rolled 7 times whilst airborne.
Whoa! More action. That looked like
that was
Troy Ewan cutting the chicane to keep ahead of Oliver Day there at Scurry.
Yeah, well, that is. I did say that track limits have to be self-policed.
I don't think there's been a whole lot of policing going on today.
Yeah, it's just there's a whole lot. There's a whole lot of Carabinieri ignoring everything at the moment. Carabinieri is the local language for the police. You don't want them pulling you over if you're not speeding in the correct car. But Maximilian Petravsky starting to build a gap to the best part of just over around about a second over George Angelidis. But I can tell you this much, folks, that this battle is not over quite yet. The lead between them is about 1.5 seconds. The lead between McCoffin and Troy Ewan now 10 seconds. Petravsky, he's flirting with the limits of adhesion here at Monza. The yellow out in sector 1, ever so briefly. We've had 5 retirees, Scar Pope and Obeninka.
Race leader in trouble.
So race leader has lost a couple of seconds. His lead was. Now what has happened?
10 seconds.
Oh my goodness me. Let's have a look at the replay. This is going to be coming down the start-finish straight, I would imagine. And into... Oh, at the Retafilio!
Oh, he's hacking and it.
Oh, dearie, dearie me.
Everyone has to just cut behind him to avoid him.
He's done a Mika. He's done a Mika as Eduardo. And, well, the gap now has gone, it's nearly halved. Because Eduardo Beninca in the Lancia LC2 number 60 has lost pretty much half of his lead. So Maximilian Petravki and George Angelidis go into battle again. Petravki with a wobble, a big tank slapper coming out of turn 13. Angelidis is looking to the inside down the Retafilio Centro, and is he going to dive to the inside of the Parabolica? No, Petravki carries the momentum through the corner, round the outside. The Lancia has no chance of trying to reassert a comeback until he gets a little bit closer. He's 3 and a bit tenths of a second. Look at the closing rate of speed by the Lancia LC2 down the start-finish straight. Where is Angelidis going to put this? Petravki has got to anticipate this and not throw the Hail Mary into the Retafilio. Petravki nails that perfectly, but gets a wobble coming out of the second chicane. And Ross Smith has got off again. Oh, it's disaster for the man in the 00 March 84G Porsche.
Must be nursing a lot of damage after that breakdancing moment earlier.
Against the yeah, electric boogaloo, yes, definitely.
I think the electrics are boogalooing because they're not working very well. There's a technical term there.
Yes, indeed. Oh dear.
Get too far over the curb there.
Yeah, well, I think also with the damage possibly to the left-hand side of the vehicle, which took the brunt of the impact, sent the car a la Mark Webber, so to speak. I didn't do the full flippity-doo-dah like he did. Yeah, but Angelidis again, trying to put the focus here on Petravki. He needs to be, I think, 2 tenths or closer to Petravki coming out of Parabolica. We've got 11 laps to go. Petravki went wide. Angelidis is to the outside and is probably going to nose ahead. Yes, he does. And into the Parabolica, Angelidis makes the move completed. So, once again, the lead has changed in C1 AM. George Angelidis leads. And Maximilian Petravki got to try.
I wonder what's going on here. Is Petravki, it looked like it was actually Angelidis who went really wide out of the Scari. But then Petravki slowed down the straight. Is he just trying to save fuel at this point? Has he used up a bit too much with 11 laps to go? Trying to catch back up to Angelidis, and now he's paying the price of that. Wants to be behind, stuck in on the straights, and lift and coast in the braking zones to save a little bit in the slipstream. That would be the smart play. I must admit, Petravki tends to go for the risky play rather than the smart long-term decisions.
It's the risk it for the biscuit scenario there, to be honest with you. But the big thing is so we're hearing that another driver has gone off as well. So there's going to be a yellow out in sector 3. Petravki again, but so it looks like we've had another incident. So if you can hear Paul Glover's laugh right about now, like we have to wait. So. Oh dear, the number 29. Oi, that's a big one for that Lancia. And that was Gilles Lalonde, the toe-tip liveried LC, I think that was LT2.
Katarinakis in the number 29, isn't it?
There's 2 29s, isn't there? There's Katarinakis and Lalonde.
Petravki's starting to lose a bit of ground here. He's fallen into the clutches of Chen.
Yeah, Petravki is losing it. I mean, there's one thing that we talked about. We talked about fuel, but there's one other thing we haven't talked about. Tyres. Because there's a lot of force going through the back wheels, especially the fact that these cars are rear-wheel drive. No ABS, no traction control, so it's down to how brave you want to be on the loud pedal. Oh, Petravki walloped the curve going through the second chicane. the back end went, you know, up to the left and then back onto the ground. So he's got to be very, very careful. Jerry Chen is only 1 second behind. There he is in the background. So with 9 laps to go. Right, John Uyen has just pitted. And Ross
a long stop.
P3, so that is going to be a long stop. So let's just see what happens here. So we've got Brian Hall.
Oh, well, kind of dead stop there, and a bit of front of the floor didn't come with him there.
No, the front split up, and the aero underneath just decided to go exit.
Ooh, is that Hall off again in the background?
Yeah, he's gone straight on at Scary. Oh,
he's just letting him through there.
Oh, just hit the throttle, go for it, you know. If in doubt, go flat out, as I like to say. But Angelidis and Petrafsky and Chen, this battle is going to be. So,
sounds like we had a little more trouble for the race leader, Benica, because he had got the gap back up to 19 seconds, and now it's down to 17 again. He made a small error here.
That's Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2. Oh, that's not going to slide, is it? Well, he's kept it through. He kept it pinned. He didn't lose too much. If he had spun round at Seraglio, then there could be a possibility of Petrafsky. He is just absolutely murdering those curves at turns 3 and 4 in the Variante del Rettifiglio. So, more to the point,
all sorts of things.
Yeah, I know. It's like effectively, what was it? Defying the laws of physics in a 1980s Group C sports car at the moment. But yeah, he's still got to try and do.
I think we've seen a lot of physics defying incidents today, haven't we?
Oh yes, we have. Especially those like Ross Smith, Tim Otsuving that have gone skywards. That's all I'm saying on that. But never mind. Well, Petrafsky is closing in once again.
Ross Smith off.
Angelidis, and so we are under 10 laps to go. We're on lap 36 out of 44. So after this, we will have, I think it'll be 8 laps in total. Petrafsky trying to carry the speed through the outside at the Parabolica. Is this going to give him the opportunity to close on him? We ride on board on the front nose cam of Maximilian Petrafsky. 4/10. That's not close enough to Angelidis as they will head into the Rettifiglio. But this is where Petrafsky gets a bit creative a little bit later on the brakes. Wallops the curb there, curb there, and bosh. Fourth curb, and yeah. So basically, when he's catching that right front on the outside, on the curbing out of turn 4, and well, we're hearing that Ross Smith has had another drama. That has not helped him at all. So, yeah, 8 laps.
I think Ross's best hope was sort of just to hang on, isn't it? He can maybe hold on to the class podium here, but that car just looks more and more wounded. And I think he's just trying to get to the end of this one for his dog Goomba. As there we see Max Petrafsky having an amazing save, frankly, on the exit of Lesmo 1 there, but mistakes like that are just going to hand it to Angelidis. There's a crazy battle for 4th overall between Borman, Makofov, and Day as well.
Yeah, Day is only a second behind Borman for P4 in C1 Pro. There is the Candy sponsored Lancia LC2 coming out of Parabolica at turn number 14. And the lead gap between Beninka and Tammy is about 16.7 seconds. Oliver Day has got somebody in between. That will be Tony McCoffin, the Pro-Am class leader, who is there on merit, let's not forget. So he is P5 overall. Petrafsky, 2/10, 2.5 that's a big old rate of closing. Petrafsky trying to dive to the inside of Angelidis, and he's through. That was brilliantly timed by Maximilian Petrafsky. Sleek shots past Angelidis, gives a little bit of tail wagging the dog, and Angelidis says, well, if you're going to do that, I'm going to come straight back at you.
Yeah, there we go. Petravski's just really struggling to sort of hold on to it on exit there without losing momentum. But yeah, that was a fantastic move nonetheless, and he has just enough overlap late on the brakes in that Liquid Molly Team Auto House number 59 to keep the car ahead then, and that puts the Porsche 956 back into the AM lead. Petravski's just got to hold on now and hope that he's got the fuel to make it to the end here, or maybe Angelidis is going to be able to outsmart him here by tucking him behind. Jerry Chen keeping a watching brief on the pair of them as well. Here comes Angelidis trying to get revenge into Ascari. Will he get the Lancia late enough on the brakes? No, he won't. Licks of flame from Petravski as he downshifts. Makes Angelidis back out there, as you see. Oh, just the embers there of Oliver Day all over the back of Mikofov and Borman in the fight for fourth overall.
Yeah, this is really coming to a head now. We're coming into the final few laps of this race here. The 250 kilometres of Monza as Petravski keeps it pinned round the outside of Angelidis through out of Parabolica. Angelidis and the Lancia has the inside line. It's side by side. 3 car widths separating the pair, but Angelidis on pure pace alone in the Martini Racing Lancia LC2 retakes the AM class lead. But how creative will Petravski be? He's back up the inside through into Rettifilio, and Jerry Chen now makes it 2's company, becomes 3's a crowd.
Exactly, Petravski again gets squirrely on the exit there, and this is going to allow surely Angelidis to put the thing. The Lancia very good on acceleration, but the Porsche's got really good top end and straight line speed, and there you see it coming into effect once more. So Petravski struggles a bit on sort of acceleration, keeping the wheels pointed in a straight line, but once he's done that, he's home free essentially. So yeah, if he can just keep defending here, he's got this, but under immense pressure, it's so difficult just to keep everything, especially as the rear tyres start to go away as well. You can see Angelidis suffering with the same problem here. Maybe Jerry Chen has got enough in the tank here to mount a last-minute attack on one or both of them.
Kind of agree with you there, Ed, because Jerry Chen has just been waiting for what's been going on ahead of him to happen. And he knows that if there's one wrong move, then the pair of them are going to take each other out inadvertently. So his best strategy at the moment, with, what is it, 6 laps to go, including this one. We're on lap number 39. And Petravski, Angelidis and Chen. That is your top 3. They round out the top 10 overall as well. So all 3 drivers looking at an overall top 10 finish, but it is the battle for the race lead in C1AM. Eduardo Benica leads on lap 39 with a 13.7 second advantage over JT Tammy. So JT Tammy has really been firing on all cylinders. The number 66 EMKA C84 Aston Martin. His last lap time, a 1 minute 37.842. Eduardo Benica, a 140.661. And again, well, JT Tammy has just taken 1.6 seconds out of the race leader through sector 1. Another 2 tenths in sector 2, another 2 tenths in sector 3. He has taken 2 seconds out of Benica. The gap is now 14 seconds and closing. I think with only a handful of laps to go. Oh, Angelidis slides sideways, the back end stepping out to the left through Lesbo 1. That might possibly be the moment.
Oh, Petravski's off.
And he's off, but it's the barriers. Angelidis and Chen go through. Petravski pinballs off the barriers coming out of Del Seraglio. And his opportunity of the C1AM class victory here at Monza, I think, has just gone like water under the bridge.
Dear me. So one tiny little mistake. Just again, it was Lesmo 2 that caught him out there, and it's handed it. Angelidis, we saw make a mistake there. He thought that the chance to win was gone there, but it's immediate with 4 laps to go. Back in his hands, but Jerry Chen could still absolutely be a threat here, but I think Petravski, as you say, maybe he's now taking too much damage, as now Ross Smith is able to just sneak back into the top 10 as a consequence of that. But yeah, this is what happened to Beninka, and yeah, cutting that first chicane, that's why he lost a couple of seconds to JT Tammy, but he's continued to lose time. The gap 9.8 seconds now. and closing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, JT Tammy has taken over 1.1 seconds out of Maninka in the opening, in the second sector. Lost about a tenth in sector 1 and was 0.2 quicker in sector 2. Here we go with another replay.
Smakov losing it. Oh!
So that's going to give an opportunity for Oliver Day to have a clear shot at Ben Borman for 4th in the pro class. George Angelidis has also been off. That's given Jerry Chen a little bit of impetus as well. The gap between them now is 0.4 of a second and closing.
Oh, Petracchi's really losing time here. Look, he's nearly 20 seconds behind now.
Yeah. That's probably, now was that Petracchi possibly? He's 18 seconds behind Jerry Chen, who is closing in on George Angelidis. As we are now on lap 41 out of 44, as Ross Smith has just nearly lost the back end. So let's have a look at the Champion Motorsports replay. So on view, this is going to be Petracchi, and this is going to be at Della Roggia.
Oh.
Lost the front bonnet. He's lost the front cowling, and that was coming through Della Roggia. Oh my goodness me, Petracchi has got no front downforce from that car.
Just pushing that bit too hard, wasn't he, Maximilian? And now we see Oliver Day finally with a chance at taking 4th away from Ben Borman. He's fought hard to get back in this position. Just 3 more laps to go. And there we go. Borman again breaks late. He's not about to. He's lost a lot of time to lead. He's 40 seconds behind Dahlgren. But he's not about to give up this 4th position without a fight. But yeah, Oliver Day in that Lancia is just really, really good on acceleration here. And is able to really use some good car control to keep the pressure on. But yeah, I think Maxime Petracchi was just a little bit too far over the curb at the Della Roggia chicane, trying to catch back up after that mistake that he made. And that's just ended up with him losing a lot more time. He can't really pit now because he'll lose the podium in class to Gilles Lalonde. So he's sort of got to keep going here as Jerry Chen now only 0.4 behind Angelidis. So 2 battles left to be decided. But JT Tammy, by the way, only 8 seconds. He's not catching as quickly as he was before. Here comes Day.
Day to the outside of Borman into Parabolica after the Rettifino Centro. Day to the outside, gets through for 4th place. Meantime, Eduardo Maninka lost a bit of time to JT Tammy in the second sector of the previous lap as we are on lap 42 out of 44. So after this, 2 laps remain here at La Pista Magica, the Temple of Speed, the Monza circuit. Oliver Day being closed in on by Ben Borman, really good on the brakes going into Rettifilo. And there you see the lawn Liqui Moly Porsche. A real shame for Maximilian Petracchi. Put it on class pole, and more's the point after dramas, after losing it directly in front of Angelidis and Jerry Chen. They are the closest battle so far. 8, 9 tenths separating them. So 7.3 seconds between Eduardo Maninka and JT Tammy for the race lead. Tammy lost 4/10 in the opening sector, but closed back half a second. He is really firing on all cylinders, is JT Tammy, but we are on to our penultimate lap of this race. Jerry Chen putting the frighteners on George Angelidis. It could be the possibility that we might have a Lancia victory in both Pro and Am, and maybe Porsche takes the spoils in the Pro Am class with Tony McCoffin. Just, well, he's about 10.1 seconds ahead of the number 61 Jaguar XJR6 of Troy Uyen. But this is very much the case that the man in the bottom right-hand corner of your screens, he is hemorrhaging time. He's lost half a second to JT Tammy, has Eduardo Maninka in the number 60 Lancia LC2.
Is Maninka low on fuel here? That could be an explanation for why he keeps losing so much time.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Ross Smith up the inside of Jerry Chen for 9th overall. Ross goes very, very wide.
5 seconds. 5 seconds is the gap. Maninka is on fuel-saving Strat 3000 right about now because JT Tammy in the opening sector took half a second out of the race leader. Took 1.3 seconds out on lap on sector number 2. Eduardo Maninka This is the final lap, 5.8 kilometres for Eduardo Beninca. He puts in a 140.319, 137.6, and a purple sector for JT Tammy in sector 3. 4.5 seconds. Can Beninca hold on is the big question. And there he is in the back of shot. There's JT Tammy coming out of the Retafilio. Meantime, in the main picture, Ross Smith, right sandwiched in the middle of the battle for the C1M class victory. Angelidis looking to bring home victory to Lancia on home soil. But at the moment, what is going to be the gap after the opening sector where they go through turn 9 at Lesmo 1? Eduardo Beninca through Lesmo 1, touches the grass. JT Tammy is going to be pretty much hot on his heels. So it's a 36.3 for Beninca, 35.9. That's not going to be enough for Beninca to be passed by JT Tammy. Now it's going to be the case of sector 2. What's the timing beam going to say? Beninca's going to come out of Ascari now, and it'll be the run down into the Parabolica. 33.092 for Beninca, 31.9 for JT Tammy. But there's only one more corner to go. It's the Parabolica. Eduardo Beninca started on the outside of the front row alongside Becky Ely Green and will power out of the Parabolica for the final time. The checkered flag awaits. Lancia complimenti. Well done to Eduardo Beninca, who wins overall here at round 5, the 250 kilometres of Monza.
There we go. Great charge from JT Tammy, but Beninca had more than enough to hold on there. And now here comes McCoffin to win in the Pro-Am class, deservedly so, in that Porsche 956, as you see in set. This is
so Magnus Dahlgren crossing the line. So JT Tammy finishes in second position. Magnus Dahlgren P3. And it is going to be that Tony McCoffin will take the win. Here he goes through into Ascari for the final time. And he will be not that far behind a couple of other cars. But also we've got the fact that Troy Uyen is 15.3 seconds behind George Angelidis.
Very close to Angelidis.
Yeah,
Look at this, he's trying to go around the outside at Ascari.
No, that's not. No, that's a lapsed Lancia there that has been lapped by.
I mean in inset. Sorry.
Yeah,
the inset.
The inset. But McCoffin is going to come through to win in Pro-Am. George Angelidis has next to nothing, 6.5 tenths. But look at Jerry Chen, so close to the back bumper of the large Ross Smith spins around through the final corner. It's going to be a run to the line here for C1M. And once again, Lancia wins on home soil. It's George Angelidis that wins in Am.
There we go. And Ross Smith not under threat for 10th because Petranski had already crossed the line the previous lap. So he will finish a somewhat disappointed 10th, but that's still the class podium. In Pro-Am and the engine, let's go spectacularly as he crosses the line. So a difficult race for Ross Smith, but he did get to the end. But all the plaudits have got to go. Angelidis did incredibly well to hold on to that win. That AM battle was a lot of fun to commentate on, and I imagine quite a bit of fun to drive, although not for Petranski, who unfortunately slipped or had the wind slip out of his fingers in quite spectacular fashion late on.
Well, what can you say? La Pista Magica, it definitely had more than a rabbit in the magician's hat here today. Well, 3 different class winners, but it was so close. It was about 2 seconds at the end of 44 laps of the 5.79 kilometre Temple of Speed, the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, here for the 250 kilometre race. What a drama we have had over the last, I would say, probably the best part of just over 90 minutes since we went live here. And hopefully we might be able to get a word with our class winners. So Eduardo Beninca takes the win in Pro-Am. It's Tony McCoffin in the Porsche 956 339 that takes the win. So here is a quick reminder of the calendar. So, in 3 weeks' time, we head to the home of British Motorsports to Silverstone for the 250 kilometres. And then we go to Hockenheim, and all the remaining races will be 250 kilometres in length. Hockenheim on August 9th. Mosport in Canada, August 23rd. October 4th for Spa-Francorchamps. October the 18th for Brands Hatch. 1st of November for Fuji International Speedway with a very long 1.5 kilometre straightaway. There will be plenty of slipstreaming there, let me guarantee you that much. And then the 6th of December, we head to Sandown for this season finale. Well, I know for a fact it has been a very, very busy race. But more to the point, we have some drivers to have a chat to. So first of all, it is time to bring in the overall race winner, started from the outside of the front row. Let's bring Eduardo Beninca in. Eduardo, firstly, that was very, very close at the end of that race, but you managed to pick up the win here in the pro category. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you, guys. Was a nice race. I think it was a very fun race for everyone. I was expecting to be more harder, the race, to be honest. I think the first half of the race was really easy. I was running alone and made the mistakes because of it. It's hard to keep the concentration. But JT did a good job and catching me during the race, and almost we had a fight at the end.
I do have to ask a question, Eduardo. I mean, obviously, despite all the mistakes that we saw happen, I think a couple of times going straight on at the Rettifilio chicane, but were you having to save quite a bit of fuel during the race itself?
Yeah. It was similar to the Mugello race. I had to save in some corners in all laps of the race, but was not a massive problem like it was in Le Mans. It's manageable.
And obviously that gives you a nice little bit of a boost. Obviously, we head to the 250 kilometers of Silverstone in 3 weeks' time. What are your thoughts ahead of that race?
Yeah, I think it will be a harder race. Tracks with high-speed corners are difficult for the launch. Probably the Porsche and the March will have a better pace. But in the end, what matters is the points. Maximize the points and keeping the battle for the championship.
Well, Eduardo, congratulations and well done for giving Lancia a well-deserved victory on home soil here at Monza. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to say thank you and to give a shout out to here today?
Well, I have to shout out to everyone involved in the event, since the guys of SGS to do the mod and you guys to do a nice broadcast to watch, so you can watch years later and remember the nice race that we had. And that's it.
Eduardo Beninca, congratulations, our overall winner and the pro class winner for round 5 of this particular Virtual World Sportscar Championship for 1985. We'll see you in 3 weeks, Eduardo, at Silverstone.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Sorry, I didn't mean to move you there, Ed. My apologies there. Right, you know what, Ed? Would you like to have a chat with Tony McCoffin, our Pro-Am winner?
All right, fair enough. That's very generous of you, Alex. I'll drag him in and hear what he has to say. So,
I beat you to it.
There we go. Somebody is delighted to see us, and we are happy to see him, and that is Mr. Tony McCoffin, and of course, your winner in C1 Pro-Am.
Yes.
So, Tony, a very, very interesting race, of course. It started off with you having to fight your way through the pack a little bit, and then Ross Smith hit trouble. You hit the front, and you were in more of a battle with the pros than anything else, as you had Oliver Day catching up to the back of you. I think you made a little mistake late on that led him through, but yeah, certainly from your point of view, this was a lot better than a race than, say, Mugello. I remember ended quite badly for you, but this one, a much better time in Italy for you this time around.
Yeah, definitely. That was a great race, a bit run in between because I was just chasing Ross and we were like on a very similar pace, so the gap wasn't moving at all. But at least it keeps on my toe until Ross sadly had some issues. So yeah, but in the end, fighting with Ben Bowman and Holiday. It was quite fun because like we're in 3 different cars, so with 3 different strengths. Valencia was so much faster on top speed, while the March was so much faster on acceleration, and I was so much better on the brakes. So in the end, we were like on the same pace, but in different ways around the track. So that was quite fun to drive at that point. Yeah, that was cool.
So good result for you. Good result for the Rookie Monsters team.
Yeah.
How are you looking forward to Silverstone? Do you think that's a track that's going to suit your car?
I think it can be not that bad because like the Porsche 956 is really good on braking and corners and high speed corners as well. So for that matter, it will be good with Maggot and Beckett the way they are. But the fact that it's still a very fast track, I don't know how we will be against the car that have far better top speed. So we'll see how it goes. But as usual, we just go on and carry with our consistency and cleanliness in driving to get the few spots from people going off track or stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you played that strategy to perfection today, and you've closed a significant amount on championship leader Ross Smith, of course. So let's see if you can keep the momentum going. But thanks for talking to us, Tony. Before we let you go, is anybody you'd like to shout out?
Not really. They know about it already, so I just
okay. the ones who need to know, they already know. So
yeah, exactly. All right. Cheers, Guy.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks.
I like being called Guy. Saves people having to remember my name. Alex, do you want to do the next one? Shall we try George Angelidis in from the
yes,
the
indeed. Let's bring in the man who has brought success along with Eduardo Manica. George Angelidis takes the win here in C1 Amp. Now, George, hell of a scrap between you, Maximilian, and Jerry coming towards the end of the race. But then the big drama happened where we saw Maximilian go off track, pinball across the circuit, and you had to use your cat-like reflexes to stay out of harm's way. Was that sort of like the big sigh of relief that you needed?
I had many sighs of reliefs and many moments. I'm exhausted. I'm really exhausted. All I want is like to have one win where I just cruise to the distance and nothing happens, and every time is everything but that. To the point where it is really mentally killing me. Because we start the race, we had pace. I had pace. I said, okay, I can get the cars in front. I get the lead early on, and I start building a gap. Then we catch the first of the strugglers. Obviously, I catch Vasilis. I think he was coming out of pit lane just before turn 1. And I cannot overtake on turn 1. I lose all the 4 seconds gap I had. Then I'm catching Tony, who's pro-am, and I'm like, no, I just want a clean track. And Tony somehow manages to go ahead, but then Ben all of a sudden drops back, and now I have to fight or be within the same track with Ben Borman. And I'm like, why is this happening? Like, all those people should be nowhere near around me. Like, why all those people coming in? And it's just so distracting. It's just so like when they're off pace or when they're dropping back, it's just so hard to navigate around them and keep the gap. And I feel like everybody behind me, Max and Jerry included, like at some point I was thinking, are they toying with me and just sitting there saving fuel? Because I was driving 10/10ths, and those guys would just drop back 5 seconds, and then in the next lap they would just be right in my ass again. So I'm like, it's just, and then Max had 2 incidents. He dropped back, he came back again, fighting with Max. Very, very nice, very clean, but like very mentally tough. He had obviously the Porsche dialed down into the corners, and I had a little bit on speed on the straights. But I had to lift on the start finish to make the race at I was actually expecting to go 43 laps. We were expecting to get lapped, and I was seeing as the race progresses, man, maybe actually we don't get lapped, so I have to actually save that extra bit. Yeah. And then Yeah, and then we were battling with Max. He went off on the Lesmos, and then he came back, fighting again, and then he goes back out of the Lesmo, and then he's just. I don't know how I avoided that. I honestly thought that was just luck. Honestly, that was the one piece of luck I had. You saw me a couple of times went deep, and I lost the brakes. What happened is in my gate shifter, the pinion that separates fourth and sixth, well, it's reverse, part of the metal rinsing broke off during the race and got jammed into the fourth gear slot. So I would push into fourth as I'm downshifting, and then the gear shift would just go back to neutral. So it would just, kind of like an 8 shifter where it doesn't get into lock. So till somehow that got dislocated after 5 laps, and then I managed to use fourth again. But then I saw Jerry behind me, and I'm like, oh, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. And he was putting an attack at the last lap. That was all I had on the car. Like, there was nothing left of me and the car and my equipment, I think.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show. I think you're hoping for a better. Let's look at it from another perspective. First of all, you've won the race, so that's good points for you in the AM side of things.
And Peter,
I appreciate you going through all the detail there as well. I mean, one of the things you don't want is a technical issue on your your gate shifter when you're trying to shift up into fourth gear, and then it pops back into neutral because straight away you lose straight line speed. However,
well, I was actually in the downshift. It was weird.
That was on the downshift.
In the up shifts it was fine. In the downshift, when I was going 5/4, it was just immediately kicking it out, and so I had no engine brake. So I had to do a couple of 5/3 at some points. Yeah, it was.
But now that all the dust has settled, George, you've won the race. This is going to give you hopefully a good bit of impetus going to Silverstone in 3 weeks' time for the next round, wouldn't you say? Hopefully, as long as you don't have the gear shift issue again.
Yeah, definitely it's good. I don't know what happened to Peter because he was a really early contender. He had pace, so he's leading the championship. So that's 0 points. So that's going to be a big swing. I just hope that the rest of the guys are not as fast, honestly, because I don't think I can get faster. And I'm really, really tired battling them all. And they are insane speed, and they don't make any mistakes. It's just, it's a very competitive championship. And that's the reality of it. So you have to be performing at the top level to be where you're at. So yeah, it's tough. Good
it
fun.
Is indeed. It is. Well, listen, George, thank you so much for talking to us. Congratulations on the win. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching, and you guys broadcasting. Obviously, the guys CMS for hosting us, and all the competitors. Max, Jerry, even Gilles. We had a good scrap at the moment at this one. I hope everybody had fun and enjoyed the race and the tracks and the cars. And then we go to Silverstone in 20 days.
Indeed. Well, George Angelidis, congratulations on the AM class victory. We'll see you in 3 weeks at Silverstone.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
So a big thank you there from our AM class winner.
That was an amazing rant, I have to say.
Well, I wouldn't call it a rant. I would call it I wouldn't call it a rant. I would call it voicing his concerns.
It was a release of a lot of things. I mean,
when you've been driving around this track for probably the best part of an hour and 20 minutes, best part of over 200 miles an hour for most of it, yes, it is going to physically and mentally tax you. But on that note, I mean, Ed, let's look at the high points. We had incidents, we had accidents, we had flips, we had fireballs. We had pretty much everything here at Monza here for the Virtual World Sports Car Championship for 1985 at the 250 kilometers of Monza.
Yeah, pretty much halfway through the season, and yeah, not really a dull moment, is there? Beninka being caught at the end by Tammy. That little fight over fourth place between Dave Borman and McCoffoven. McCoffoven sort of inheriting that victory. Well, I don't want to say inheriting. He kept it on the island when Ross had that massive crash, and Ross still got to the end incredibly despite huge damage, which I think is certainly noteworthy. But yeah, the Angelidis Chen Petravsky battle was absolutely spectacular, and you got to feel for Petravsky, but you've also got to feel delight for Angelidis overcoming all those issues. Jerry Chen just falling short despite a very, very valiant effort in the Breaking Bad Racing Porsche to try and steal the win there, as Jerry Chen has made a bit of a habit of sort of staying anonymous and then striking at the end when they least expect it. But Angelidis this time just about holding it on, and very relieved to have done so. But yeah, a lot of drivers crashing out quite spectacularly and hitting issues, and they'll be hoping, the likes of Becky Ely Clark, for example, our pole setter, they'll be hoping they have a better run next time out, because there was a lot of drivers that didn't seem to have a whole lot of luck out there and seemed to be in the barriers and often arriving at quite high speed.
Well, thank you so much to everybody tuning in here on the Champion Sim Racing YouTube channel and the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel as well. That's it from us here at La Pista Magica, the Temple of Speed, the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, whatever you want to call it. You've been in the company of both Alex Goldschmidt and Ed Hunter, with Paul Glover, our wonderful broadcast director, whispering sweet nothings into our ears and providing some fantastic reactions before sending us a replay or two. A big thank you to also Champion Sim Racing, also everyone at Storm Gang Simulation for what they do behind the scenes. Of course, the next round heads to Northamptonshire and Silverstone for the 250-kilometre adventure into the unknown in just 3 weeks' time. Same place, same time, 26th of July. We hope you come back with us then. So, race hard, race fair. If in doubt, like here at Monza, you better go flat out to win. See you next time. Thank you. Good night.